Hey guys, welcome to the Patrick McGibney Podcast. And I'm sitting here with my colleague Janos Konetschni.
Patrick,
Welcome.
it's a pleasure.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having me.
for being here. You drove all the way from Paphos, so I know it's quite a long way. And yeah, before we get into a little bit details, let's shortly introduce Yanosh. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's the founder and co-founder of a dozen of companies that I'm going to summarize here, but we can go a little bit deeper later on. Zencomply, is that correctly pronounced?
Send comply, almost.
Zencomply?
Send comply.
Send comply. Makes more sense if I'm reading it now. HubX, MIT24, and BeforeCrypt. And of course, your coaching business as well. So a couple of businesses here that we are going to talk about today, obviously. But before we get things started, again, welcome everybody. Happy that we have you on the podcast. And as well, maybe a little bit commercial at the beginning on the mastermind, which is happening in November. So everybody who is listening as well, we're doing a mastermind for IT entrepreneurs in Cyprus in November. Yanosh is one of the guest speakers, as well as more or less most of the people who have been on the podcast as well. Justin, oh my God, Alex, and whoever was on the podcast. So it will be fun time, will be a lot of benefit for anyone who's in the IT industry, especially. And but now let's get to the podcast. So Yanosh, thanks again for being on my podcast. Really great to have you here. Since all of my guests somehow ended up in Cyprus, let's start here. How have you ended up here in Cyprus?
That's a good question. So originally, I'm from Munich, Germany, and I grew up there and basically lived there my whole life. But at one time, I felt like, okay, I need to change my life. I really loved doing business in Munich and the vibe and the culture and everything, but I fell down in a kind of deep hustle hole. So I've worked like crazy all the time. And together with my wife, we took the decision to change that. We always wanted to live in I don't know, like a kind of dream island scenario where you have your own villa and have this and that, like a kind of life goal to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And we also wanted to have a more like positive environment. And this is what we found here in Cyprus, because the most people here are easygoing, very friendly, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, also a lot of very interesting entrepreneurs on an island. So I guess I made here more connections than ever before Munich.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah.
Crazy, really, really crazy.
Yeah. It's the same what I always say, like that short period of time in your life in Cyprus. I think we came more or less at the same time. We were just talking about it, like end of 21 was the same. I moved here 21 because we had to maneuver around or away from the Wegzugssteuer, no? The
Exit tax.
exit tax. Thanks. Back in Germany, and I do believe also we are meeting constantly crazy people here. Like we have so many people on a podcast from different kind of business fields, industries, but yeah, what you said, the positive mindset, that's really the core differentiation here in Cyprus. Also the people, everybody's friendly, everybody's happy here. That's what I love. Same was for me. I was also looking for this dream. That was a big check mark on the list, right? Dream island, paradise. You found it here. Have you looked at other places?
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. If you do, right, there are plenty of options in Europe, right? But I guess the main point was we already had friends here.
Yeah.
And it was like a kickstart for us. That was also one of the reasons why we went to Paphos here on Cyprus, which is a kind of local region. And this helps. If you already have a friendship circle who are entrepreneurs who did the step before, so you remove the fear layer completely. And then we came here for 1 week, actually. We tried different cities. And after 1 week, I made a decision, okay, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
It's like many things in life. You need to do it.
Yeah.
You can always figure things out, fix problems on the way, but you need to do the move first. Yeah. And I don't know. I thought about Spain. I thought about Italy, Portugal, Gran Canaria. We're big Gran Canaria fans, right? But over what pitched me was we have like English as a main language here. So basically you could do everything. My Spain sucks, right? It's not non-existent basically. Same for Italian or Portugal. And that's a big pro.
Yeah.
You come here and you can talk with everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would lie if I would say I not did it because of the taxes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a bonus. I always say it's the cherry on the ice cake cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that should be never a reason why you leave a country and go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then you get very unhappy.
Yeah.
If you move to a place and just do it for taxes. I do have a friend of mine, which is Christoph Heuermann. He has the community Staatenlos.
Yeah, I know him. He gave me the highest hourly rate I ever paid for in my life.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually a very funny story how I met him, right? So I had a consultation.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Like summer 2019.
Probably the same for me. Yeah.
Approx that timestamp, right? And so had a very nice impression. He's even more friendly if you meet him in person.
Yeah.
And then we flew to Gran Canaria in the Corona times.
Yeah.
We had the freedom to work from everywhere. So we decided, okay, let's escape this. Let's go on an island to have like a place where we can save in that situation. And guess what? We're sitting in Hotel Santa Catalina in Gran Canaria, and we meet someone at the pool.
Yeah.
We talked with him. He was also a German guy. And then he actually told him, well, he's currently here with Christopher on his catamaran.
Yeah.
Exactly there.
Yeah.
So we then met for lunch and dinner and then for drinks and everything. Yeah. And this is how we met in person. So
yeah, he's a very, I mean, by now if you're in the expat or community, everybody knows him. He was on TV in Germany on Galileo and everything. Yeah, it's also how I found him. And did he help you, like in terms of relocating?
When I had a consultation back in the days, I was thinking about Switzerland.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a different situation.
Yeah.
The second time when I made a move, I did not do that, but I've spent so much time that topic. So I was firm enough to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And I knew everything about exit tax, overall company structures, how to do this and that. So I feel very confident.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely recommend going into consultation with him.
Yeah.
He's basically a shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess his hourly rate is now 1,986 euro.
I think it's 2.5 by now, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah. I recently talked to someone who said it's 2.5. I paid 1.5 back then.
Oh, I paid less anyway.
Christopher.
but the value is increasing, and you're getting better and better. So it's absolutely good to pay that. And like you pay someone for 1.5 hours.
He does
to teach you everything to your individual situation.
Yeah.
Is such a credible value.
Yeah.
And if you spend this on your own, like spend time, it's almost impossible to get that scope of information. So absolutely recommend.
Yeah. It's very, very complex topics. I mean, can you research your ass off to find it out yourself? But you just answers the question that you answer. I remember what I asked him about Cyprus back then, about Panama, Dubai, like all the exotic options, I would also say, in terms of business relocation and private relocation, because I always saw it, as you said, it needs to fit, like it needs to be balanced, right? It's not just reduce taxes to whatever. It's just if you have a family or whatever, you want to have a private life as well. So we went through all the options, and I think he guided me. I can't really remember anymore, but at the end, he was like concluding, well, it's Cyprus. So do this, do this, do this. It was so clear. The best story that he was telling me was I think it's the Boris Becker story.
Becker?
Yeah, the famous German tennis player who got caught with the exit tax from Germany, right? Because he always kept a key to his parents' house, and he kept his childhood room. And the tax department in Germany actually caught him after whatever, how many years, and decided that he has a home in Germany. That's why he actually went insolvent, right? Because he had to pay millions of euros.
Well, and I don't think it's a good thing what he did, because if you decide to make a move,
Yeah,
you need to stay committed with it.
yeah,
It's not like we're having another flat somewhere hidden in Munich
Yeah.
or something. That's not working,
yeah,
because you can't sleep at night,
yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like you need to make a decision. You need to move on without playing these games.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
If not, stay in Germany, pay taxes.
Exactly.
Everyone is happy.
yeah. Yeah, it's an easy decision. Maybe back then, I mean, that must have been 20, 30 years, maybe the information wasn't so good. I mean, he couldn't talk to Christoph Heuermann, for example, so maybe he had bad lawyers, bad tax consultants. But yeah, that was the story that really, burned into my brain. So I was like, especially this key story. I remember when I finally moved away, I made a video on how I gave my parents keys to my parents just to be sure, because I was like, I don't want that to happen to me.
I love that.
So I really made a pit like, look, everybody who's a
Post it on Instagram, like,
so I am away. That was really, really helpful back then, talking with Christoph. He's a crazy guy. I know so many people know him. It's crazy. Great, but he's very introverted, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But honestly, the most people I've met which have either high social status
Yeah.
or super successful are introvert.
Yeah,
Same goes for me. I'm a very introvert person,
yeah,
but I do have extrovert
Yeah.
parts.
yeah,
Sometimes I feel drained
yeah.
when I step out of a big group and conversation right now. So what was also very interesting, so we've been invited to Christoph's birthday party.
Nice.
It's called Heuereka.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely cool. So we went there, I think it was already 2021. These people are crazy. Don't get me wrong. They actually bought a castle in the mid of Germany, right? Did that kind of crypto
Yeah.
community over there. And there was the conference happening. And the really amazing thing is, if you go there, you basically have an extract of very high qualified and super interesting people.
Yeah.
Like I shook like 100, 150 hands,
Yeah.
and it changed my life, because you go there and you basically you're into the network in this
Yeah.
segment. It's like
Crazy.
like to Willy Wonka's
Yeah.
ticket, like it's cool. So you get some more inspiration, you get some more network. That's also the thing what I feel like network is so fucking important.
Yeah, definitely.
Adds so much value to your life, and also you can give value to other people.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Definitely. Who was the craziest person, like in terms of in the party from Christopher? Is anybody sticking out, like everybody knows?
I would say I keep this confidential.
Yeah.
Because many people are there known.
It's confidential.
And it's a kind of internally
Yeah,
to a
that
certain
makes
degree,
sense.
so that
Yeah,
I don't publicly
that makes
talk about
sense.
that for a reason.
But they bought the castle. Oh, it's not bad. Yeah. It's on the list now.
That's on the list. I actually looked around and I found castles in Ireland.
Yeah.
They're pretty cheap.
I have no idea what they cost.
The main problem with castles, like if you buy them,
Yeah.
they're super expensive to maintain.
I bet.
There's constantly something breaks and you need to fix that. And they ain't that expensive.
Really?
So, somewhere you get a very, very good castle for $1 million.
Really?
And well, the maintenance is what kills you. I once went to Dubai, and then I went to Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
I actually visited the highest apartment in the world with a balcony. It was crazy. I was thinking about buying this. It was in the end of 2021. And the apartment was only 4 million USD.
Yeah.
And I was shocked, right? I didn't get it.
The highest one, yeah.
A super large apartment, 500 square meters, balcony, crazy. And then I thought, like, okay, let's ask someone who lives there.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the Kreuter and asked him, listen, I'm interested in buying that, and what do you think? And he told me, well, the main problem, because people don't buy apartments there, is the maintenance cost.
So high, yeah.
They have super expensive ventilation for the elevators, which is going super fast. They need to clean all the windows. They do not have any sinkholes or something. So there's actually, if you look in Google, every morning there is a certain degree of trucks lining up
Yeah.
to pump out all the shit.
Oh, crazy.
So the maintenance cost is crazy. So per square meter, don't name it down, but I think back then when he told me it was around 150 euro per square meter. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's the reason why the most apartments are empty.
Crazy.
Most people don't know it.
Crazy. Yeah, that's not, I mean, for the highest apartment in Dubai, it could also be 400 million. Yeah, definitely. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I need to ask my colleagues because one of my good friends, he has a real estate company in Dubai. I forgot the name. Investment. Oh, he's gonna kill me. I'm gonna open
we
up
might
here
put it in show
something. And they're the number one. They're the number one investment real estate company now, and from managed by Germans in Dubai. Get up to make that.
Time for a shout out here.
Shit, yeah. So whoever wants to buy there something, investment bankers. Yeah. Jesus, I'll figure it out. I'll just act as if I'm not looking anything up, but we'll get to that again. Here it is. Let's do this. So everything is obviously. Why is it not showing? Well, then the bio needs to be updated. Well, anyways, we can link them afterwards. Yeah, but it's crazy. I mean, they're really booming there. So they're a team because it's interesting. So back then in 21, the prices were. Do you think it's more expensive now?
I think it doesn't matter what I think. Honestly, I have no clue about real estate. So I do not want to say anything like it's going up or down.
Yeah.
I have no information on that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Yeah, I'm also absolutely unknowledged in real estate or crypto. I always refer to my expert friends who will help me if I need something, because you can't be an expert in everything, right?
That's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely okay.
You got other skills, which are creating value.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't be good in everything. Yeah, how do we get to Dubai? You were looking. Is that something? Did you think about going to Dubai?
Not really.
No.
I was there for 1 week in total. I feel like it's a place to see it once or once at a time. It was honestly a very amazing experience when it comes to service. I've never seen a place in my life where they have the service so on point like in Dubai. Especially if you go to more high-class restaurants, they are crazy good. But beyond that, I feel like that's not the life I would like to live. I want to have nature. I would like to have, infrastructure. Like, it's a very futuristic city.
Yeah.
It's very capped. Like, you need to stay inside like 90%.
Yeah, it's too hot. Yeah.
And beyond that, everything is just built from ground up.
It's artificial.
Artificial, 100%. So that's not the dream I would like to live. And I feel like Cyprus is a mix. Of course, it's hot here, which is a very good thing because you have like 300 Sundays.
Yeah, but still different hot, right?
Still different hot. You have nature, you can go for hiking, you have the beach, and you actually can use it.
Yeah.
So I would never live in Dubai.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like, it's cool to go there. It's really cool. It's futuristic and really, really awesome. But staying there, I don't know. Difficult. I mean, regarding the tax, I mean, again, also not an expert, but I think that also changed a bit right now. So it's also not the 0. I think it's 9% by now, if I'm not mistaken. So everybody has a choice. We definitely, back then, we looked at Dubai as an option as well, with US, LLC and all that. But at the end, like, we also looked at Panama and all that stuff. But at the end, like, my decision was it needs to be privately balanced as well. If I relocate my business, I'm going to stay there as well. That was like, it was a two-step process. Whereas back then, my business partner, for example, he was clear it's just a business. Like, he's going to also do the non-dom, but he's not going to stay here. said, I'm gonna stay here. And then it's the same story. I went here with my wife, and for a week we actually booked already. I remember that too. We booked a vacation to Turkey, I believe. And then back then Deloitte called me because we worked with Deloitte for then relocating the company and everything. And there's like exit tax. We need to do that now. I think it was like September or something. And in October, we just didn't go to Turkey. We canceled the vacation. We came here 1 week. Same as you, we went to a couple of places, rented the house, and then like just a couple of weeks later, I sold everything I owned, made the videos with the keys, literally gave everything away for free. At the end, I was just like a bazaar in my, like back where I was living. I was just like giving it to students or whatever. I just take the furniture. Now I need to get it.
Make pictures for Instagram.
Yeah, of course. I documented everything. Everything's gone. Everything is gone. I sold apartments that I still had, and luckily it worked. I never expected that because I didn't want to have anything back in Germany anymore. And yeah, and then we relocated super quickly. And then
Because you just talked about the exit tax. Right? I guess many people are so scared of this.
Yeah.
But in the end, I see it as a chance. Like now I see it like this. 2021, when you actually left the country, right? And different thing. But now I see like, okay, it's all right. Actually, I had the possibility to just keep it like it is, but I paid it.
Yeah.
Why? Because I would like to break free.
Yeah.
And I know many entrepreneurs which are on an island and still have that exit tax flying around their head.
True. After 17 years, I think, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Something like that. Yeah.
But you know, it's just constantly in your brain.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's better just to pay it.
Yeah.
And it's all right. Okay. It's probably not fair.
Yeah.
If you see it from a perspective as an entrepreneur up in Germany, that the rules are not fair.
No.
Just fair for the government, right? So, but that's politics. Don't go too deep into that, I guess. Anyway, it's good to pay it and be free and just go your way.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact that you sold your apartment,
right,
and moved on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you always would. There's
something there. Yeah.
That's not a good way to live.
I completely agree. Well, I also paid the exit tax.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. I was not happy about it, but who was? But yeah, if you look at it like that, you're free. Otherwise, you could. I think it was like 17 years and whatsoever. But at some point, it would hit you. And yeah, we fortunately how we did it is before the years we basically shifted the revenue streams to different countries, obviously, to also decrease the tax in Germany. So the exit tax was still manageable. Anyway, didn't like to pay it. But I remember coming back, I think it was, I told that story probably once. I came back from Germany and we then announced everything like officially and also reported it. Actually, not reported it. That's the point. We signed all contracts. And then also selling the company after moving here. And I think we were over Christmas or something like that, it must have been, in Germany. And that's when, shortly before, we signed all the contracts to sign the company, to sell the companies. And when I came back, I never received any letter in my life in my old villa, because it was like in the suburb of like Pravolia. There's no mailman. They never, and I had a physical letter. I will never forget that, from the tax authorities of Germany. So they must have sent someone over Christmas, literally over Christmas, to deliver this piece of paper that I have to pay in 4 weeks. It wasn't even like officially reported. So yeah, but that's how it is. Yeah. So we're in the same club. Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you need to make a move in life. I do really like your story, and I feel like we quite have some similarities.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Another thing, when we stayed in Gran Canaria, we actually met a guy. His name was Klaus, and so it turned out that this guy, staying in the same hotel, by the way, where I met Christopher, turns out that after we had, I guess, 2 or 3 bottles of champagne, he paid for everything, and I was like, "Oh, don't do that," but he insisted. So we had a very good time, the 4 of us, right? Wife and wife.
Yeah.
So, at one point, he told me, well, he's living in Thailand.
Yeah.
He's currently blocked here in Gran Canaria because they
Yeah.
can't go back because
Yeah.
of the COVID thing happening. And then it turns out that this guy was the co-founder of 101 Internet.
Really?
You
Yeah.
probably know
Yeah.
that service provider in Germany. So what he then did, at one point he sold the company shares.
Yeah.
And then he just lived his life. And at one point, he founded something, and I swear you used it. He told me he was drunk at the Oktoberfest in Munich
Yeah.
with a friend.
Yeah.
Then they came up with the usual problem, like the urinat, right?
Yeah.
On the man's toilet. So, and they invented, don't know how to translate it, wasserlose Urinal.
Yeah.
The waterless urinal, basically. And it's called Urimat. And that's a product everybody, a man have seen before. And I was sitting there, I was like, holy shit, I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring. Then he got actually over 10 awards internationally for founding the company, turned into a very big NGO.
Crazy.
And he even told me stories like that he got invented from the president of Thailand. To met him personally, the family, because they did so much good things. And that was very inspiring. And he told me, just do it.
Yeah.
It was exactly the time where we was thinking about leaving Germany and just do it.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes motivating if you have a mentor
definitely.
or a person who look up to.
Yeah.
Did that before.
Yeah.
We're still in contact, which is great.
Yeah.
So sometimes he's my mentor. I ask him, what shall I do here and that? He's now around 70, I guess.
Yeah.
It's so good to listen to people who either been there or made a similar experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy, man.
Oh, that's a crazy dude you met there.
Cool.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Who else you met, like, which would be a good story?
I don't think I measure people in what they have achieved or something.
Definitely. Also,
sometimes, I treat people evenly. For example, if I met someone who's working at a gas station or something, I actually shake their hands and ask how hard it is and so on. And sometimes even that inspires me because someone is doing something so wonderful. So because of that, I don't like to think in that categories like who you met.
Yeah.
Of course, there's plenty of people, but that's not what makes life better.
Yeah, makes sense.
I can't directly answer the question simply because,
Let's rephrase it. I like the answer. Who sticks out, like, what, in terms of people would definitely recognize or notice, like, okay, I know that person. We had already a couple. We talked about, before the podcast, we talked about the sports nutrition guys here in Cyprus from ESN and more, right? So maybe some also know them because you're living basically next to them, near to them.
Yeah.
And Paphos, Benjamin Burkhardt, and Christian Wolf, right? Cool guys, definitely great supplements. Who else? Who else is sticking out? I think I told that definitely on one of the previous podcasts, but I met on a very weird coincidence. I'm not going to tell the whole story again, but I met the wealthiest Greek person on the planet. And I was talking with him. I didn't know who he was, not at all. And I was talking, I forgot his name again. But he owns like a shipping company and, of course, a million other businesses. But he came the day before, he came from consulting Joe Biden. And the next day, we were sitting in a room, and I didn't know who he was. I was just talking with him, and I was pretty annoyed in that situation. So I was like, what does this guy want from me? He was asking me so weird questions, of course, but super friendly guy. That was a crazy story for real. Yeah. But again, you only meet these person in Cyprus. You'd never meet such person in Germany. It just didn't happen.
That's a very good point. And of course, like you meet people here, and some people want to stay anonymously, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to be known, and that's probably also the reason why I don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Because I guess Cyprus is also like a place where people just go to be alone.
Yeah.
You know, like especially if they stay in public or they have, you know, have a very big social media presence. It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I fully agree. Like, it's so easy to make connections.
Yeah.
I guess the reason why this is the most people who are highly successful, which I met, are the most friendly, most open, handshaking people I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you think big.
Yeah.
And the bigger it gets, the more friendly the people are.
True.
If you ask them for a favor or for help, they're gonna help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the difference.
True. True.
So maybe it's not a thing of Cyprus. If you would move these people to Spain, to Italy, it doesn't matter. It's maybe about the people which are coming here.
Yeah. Open-minded. I mean, you see that when you talk to such people, they're always asking questions. That's also a core differentiation because they're interested in that, in the other person, and the way or the level of questions they're asking you is just something different. Always like the same. And I completely agree. If the more successful, whatever successful is in this term, you know, maybe on a business level, the more open-minded, the more helpful the people are. That's true. That's a common trait. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, if you're closed, unfriendly, maybe a little bit more difficult in life, right? Yeah, very interesting.
I guess one book who really changed my mind when it comes to that was the classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
I constantly forget the name of the author.
Yeah.
But what I really like about the book or the procedure is like the way how you treat people, how do you put yourself back, and put others first.
Yeah.
When I meet someone, I spend like 90% of the time in find out who's that person. I'm really interested in person, right? I'm not asking questions or ask questions. I want to find out who you are. I do the same with, for example, yesterday a new employee joined at my company, and we went on a one-on-one session. I've spent like 90% of the time talking about her. Tell me about your origin. Tell me about how your life went. How did you go from Lithuania to Spain? So what's your journey, right? I feel like this is so important. Because you give people so much respect. Then everything else comes naturally. Most people tend to talk a lot about themselves.
True.
There is no value. The value is in listening. I always learn something when I listen to people.
Definitely.
Not when I'm talking.
Definitely. Completely agree. That's why I love doing this podcast, because I can listen to so many people talk. And it's also saying every podcast session is basically giving so much value. I completely agree. I think it's an art or it's a skill learning or needed to be learned to be able to listen and to ask questions. Especially, I'm telling that a lot or often to the clients I work with, because most of them are classically consultants. What do consultants do? They want to solve problems. They want to, give the answers. So it's super difficult. It doesn't matter on which level they are. Mostly, they like to talk. They like to solve the problem. They take they take action. So teaching them or trying to teach them how to ask questions, especially in sales calls. So ask the client, right? It's a very difficult skill to learn, I would say, but it's learnable.
You're right. You're so right. I guess especially consultants are very talk active persons, which is great. But they're very bad listeners. Most of the time. I do the same with sales calls. I feel like it's not only about asking questions, it's about to ask precise questions. That brings the best results. Listening is a skill which most people need to learn to get better with sales, with communication in the team, with client. It doesn't matter. You can apply this basically to everything.
You can apply it to every field. That's true. It's the same as you just said when you have a recruiting, hiring process, interviews. It's about listening, right? If you 90% talk about you and the company, what do you learn from that person, right? I mean, hiring people probably also one of the most difficult things. Either you do it right, or mostly you can do it very wrong. Yeah, definitely, that applies to that even more. Very, very difficult skill.
Do you know what's the best hack to find out if someone is a fit for your company?
No.
Like especially hiring.
Yeah.
I would say hiring is the biggest problem for all of us. So I always ask, or my team asks a very precise question. So what's the most positive childhood experience you can remember?
Why do you ask that?
Because you then get a very good insight of someone had a good childhood or bad childhood and how he connects to his family. Because most of the time, the family is the anchor for these people. And then you see a very positive emotion or a very negative emotion.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Negative means something is wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And also we talk about like second or third interview sessions, we talk about like, hey, what's your favorite hobby? What do you like to do?
Yeah.
I do not care so much about the skills.
Yeah.
Because skills can be fixed.
Yeah.
If someone is eager to learn and have a thrive to move things forward.
Agreed.
And so you see, sometimes it's just more important to find out if someone is a good fit for the team, most important thing, and he has a positive vibe and a vibrant,
positive mindset. Yeah. You cannot teach that. You cannot change a mindset. Yeah, 100% agreed. That's why you always hear these buzzwords, right? Needs to fit to the company culture and everything. It's true. I mean, if you have an A player works against you or the company, it will not work, right? Happened so many times, especially sales executive or head of sales. Like that happened multiple times in my companies. Got people from IBM, didn't work. I don't know why. Of course, now I know, but back then I was like, why? He's so good, right? Just didn't fit.
It's so crucial, right?
Yeah.
To find someone who fits in a team.
Yeah.
We also once had like a sales rep. He was like on the paper, it looked so good.
Yeah.
Right. He's doing a fantastic job, closing rate amazing, right, and everything. But you instantly felt like he only cares about himself.
Yeah,
you don't want to have someone in your team.
Yeah.
It destroys the company culture, right? And that's the most valuable thing. I would say I'm nothing without my employees.
Yeah.
Nothing. I couldn't sit here and talk with you while my company is delivering value to customers and they just take care of everything.
Yeah.
I can sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
And
I think yesterday I saw a comment from you on the post. Someone posted on LinkedIn, clients are always first, and you said no, employees are always first. Right? I like that comment because it's true.
I guess many businesses get this wrong. Like I will always protect my employee.
Yeah.
And I will not say family. Family is like company.
Yeah.
It's not saying, but we are friends.
Yeah.
Right. We're a team. And that means if a customer complains, the complaint is right, different story, but I would never harm my employee.
Yeah.
Like, we do have the American company culture of making mistakes over and over again. If it happens, we cheer everybody. Like we're super happy. Hey, cool, that went wrong. Let's fix that and make it better.
Yeah.
And the same with someone happens towards a customer. And of course, we serve the customer professional. We help him to solve the problem. And internally, we just say, hey,
happens. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good culture. I mean, by doing mistakes classically, you get better, right? And that counts especially towards the employees. And I like the analogy to a team, like how I always see my team in my company is a sports team. I like at the very beginning, I also said family, but after a certain amount of time, you understand it's not your family because family is really something else. In my first businesses, I treated them as family, and I got the Uno reverse card because what I did, and that didn't work. I gave way too much trust. Like I rewarded them before they actually did something, and I think I said that also in some of the previous podcasts. I lost some of my best friends down the line because at the end, they turned their back against me, gave them expensive leasing cars, a lot of salary by trusting them that they would do what we agreed. Never did. No.
How do you handle this today? Do you trust your employees?
I give them a certain amount of confidence, but trust needs to be earned. So I trust them in what they are doing. They have all the freedom. But before I say I trust a person, I also openly communicate. Trust needs to be earned. Vice versa. You need to earn my trust, and I need to earn your trust. And I keep it more professionally. Doesn't mean I cannot go out with employees and go for a drink, but it wasn't balanced at the beginning. I was like, I hope by over rewarding them, they would over deliver. That never happened. Very rarely happened, I would say. Very rarely happened. Now, deliver, be a good team player, deliver, value to the company, and the reward comes for itself. We do cool stuff, company events, or whatsoever. I think that works. It's more balanced. That's how I see it. Yeah. And the other extreme is everything after KPIs and everything. I do it like a little bit more flexible. Like KPIs are important to reach. Yes, if someone doesn't reach the KPIs, it's also a problem, but not everything is just KPI driven.
So you work with KPIs and not OKRs, right?
I did work with OKRs. Now it's KPIs again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So funny enough, because we used to work with KPIs for many, many years. And I guess 4 or 5 years ago, we turned it into OKRs.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
What changed is the mentality.
Yeah.
Like the way how we approach business is different. Like you ask an open question, for example, who would like to take that OKR, right? Take the ownership. And if you ask people, it's a different story.
Yeah.
If you do like the command control thing and say, hey, that's your thing, you need to do that. And you see that people involve, right?
Yeah.
They are trusted.
Yeah.
And also like if a decision on that OKR happens, it's always the owner who has the final word, not me or someone else.
Yeah.
And that's so good.
OKRs are a lot of fun. Yeah.
Why have you killed it?
I think the main reason is because the current companies are just smaller than the previous ones in terms of employees. So back then we reached the 100 employee mark. We had to have OKRs. The KPIs wouldn't work. Now we're a team of 10, I would say, something like that. So KPIs is easy, and again, it's more flexible. That's the main reason, I would say. Yeah, that's the main reason. But yeah, OKRs is a great tool, definitely. I always recommend it to my clients who have, I would say, around about 50 employees who or want to grow higher than that. Then I implement with them OKRs just to have that whole structure in place. So
it's interesting that you do this at such a late stage, or let's say the other way around. It's interesting to see that companies grew to that stage without having something like this in place. That surprises me all the time.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, I see companies, of course, not going to name anything, but where the CEO it's like 50 plus employees, couple of million in revenue. CEOs doing everything still on a 50 employee scale. That means sitting in daily Scrum meetings with clients. Crazy. You have 50 people. So the structure is already completely off. So much potential left out in terms of benefit for the clients, and of course also monetary benefits for the company. But yeah, that's something that can be rather easy fixed if you want to help them. But I agree, if you have the chance, do it as early as possible, because such a change in a company, changing something in that stage is not so easy, right? It's not so easy.
I guess, especially now, if you look at the companies who are grown to that stage, they are mostly located in the Central Europe region. If you look at America, different story.
Yeah, that's different.
They treat this thing in a completely different way. And I know it from my wife. She's actually also consulting one of enterprise customer clients in the German, Austria, Switzerland region. And you see that they have such an outdated mindset.
Yeah.
But what shall I say? It's like also a generational thing. The majority of the management positions up there are filled with people who have a certain age. They
Yeah.
have experience,
Yeah.
which worked very well for decades.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very tough
Yeah.
to implement a new structure and a new thinking. And it's more on the younger generation who
Yeah.
grew up and changed that. But I guess especially Germany is a very conservative country, and
Very,
it's tough.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's difficult to change something there. Especially the bigger the companies get, the more difficult it gets. I mean, some company structures, no idea how they work, right?
It's a miracle.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
Especially if you're a certain size and you see how slow processes are changed and implemented, and
It's impossible, but somehow they survive. It's a miracle. I would agree. It's a
Till now.
miracle. Yeah. Yeah, but coming back maybe to Cyprus.
Sure.
We met at your I called it Playboy Villa pool party last year. It was a
okay, that gives the listeners a fully wrong
that's how
picture.
that was a cool villa. Let's rephrase it. It was a very cool villa in Paphos, and that was an IT. There was this IT group plus other groups invited, or how was that back then? Because I remember coming there, and I was invited by Pierre, who's running the IT group on Facebook and LinkedIn for the IT entrepreneurs here in Cyprus. And then I met like people I know from completely different industries, dating coaches and everything. So that was very funny. Yeah,
Well, it escalated a bit, I would say.
yeah, it was a good one.
Well, the original idea was, since we're having a company retreat from our company like once or twice a year,
Yeah,
and we're always moving to different locations. For example, this year we're going to South Africa with the team
nice.
in November, which is amazing. Looking forward to that. But last year it happened in Cyprus.
Yeah,
Honestly, for me, it was easy.
Yeah,
Right?
of
Just
course.
to say, come over, get the infrastructure sorted. So the team flew in and we rented that big villa because, of course, you need bedrooms and everything. And then I had a chat with Pierre.
yeah,
I told him, listen, Pierre, I got so much going on. I don't have the time to come to the regular IT
Yeah.
table. So what about you bring the table to me?
yeah,
So, and I basically told my assistant, invite the people.
yeah,
So was an absolute brilliant idea.
yeah,
This is also like the core principle of giving.
yeah,
Like the invitations would went out being completely for free. We took about care about a DJ. We took about care of the whole beverage thing.
There was a magician.
We're a magician.
That was a cool one.
That guy did things which I still don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
And also like food. We got a caterer.
Yeah,
And some people ask me, why do I do this?
yeah,
Say, why not?
yeah, yeah. That's a right
You
question.
know, and like, and also with you, what a pleasure for me was I met you.
Yeah, true.
I
Yeah,
met another guy,
Yeah.
guy. And people appreciate that.
yeah,
So it opens doors.
yeah,
That's my value concept of giving
Yeah.
first. And if something happens from that,
yeah,
brilliant. If not,
Yeah.
all right.
yeah.
So this is actually how this turned out to be like a how did you call it? Playboy
Villa party in Paphos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it had this Hugh Hefner style with the infinity pool on the edge. It was like you were looking over Paphos, right, on the mountain. It was really, the location was awesome.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
This is like the same thing what you said before. Like if you have a company, treat them in the correct way.
Yeah.
I know so many companies, they don't give a flying shit
Yeah.
about their
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah.
This is the most important asset you have in
Yeah.
a company.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the concept. I think I'm very similar to the most extent, as we already realized that a lot of things we have similarities. Giving first, because first of all, it feels good. You do something good, and you also like there's times in life, whether it's private or business, times when you need help, right? So by giving people, you create your network. It's not to show off or anything. It's just by doing something good, and at some point maybe you need a favor and people will help you. And I think that's, especially here, that's how it works perfectly fine, because everybody is, again, has such a positive mindset. Everybody creates something positive. Really doesn't matter from where they are, if they're locally from Cyprus or emigrated here. It's just this is just a different atmosphere. You work with.
I would say most of the cases.
Yeah,
Not everyone.
you have
Majority of the.
you have exceptions, of course. You have exceptions, but yeah, that was a good occasion. Yeah, I mean that's how we met. Pretty sure that's how I met someone else who I can't remember right now. Yeah, but it was.
You see, there is like a red dot. You're constantly forgetting names of people.
Yeah, very bad now. I'm really bad with names. Yeah, because you meet so many people here. You meet so many people. Yeah, it's getting more and more, but that's a great thing. It's a great thing.
The thing with the value first, it's a very important point. Like, for example, right now I'm building another company, and the only goal I have until the end of the year is to get 100 true fans.
Yeah,
that's all. I don't want to make any money with that.
Yeah.
Right? It's always the wrong approach. I use an analogy which I also tell people, which I'm mentoring, are like hunting money is like trying to catch a cat.
Yeah,
just running away. So she's running away. She goes on a tree. You can't catch it.
yeah,
You need to build something. In that case, of course, you have cat food. That's easy. The cat will automatically come to you.
yeah,
And that's exactly the pattern I always keep in mind. Like, if you just bombard people with value,
yeah,
they will back you
yeah,
to buy something from you. Honestly, I'm now in a financial position who I can play that game.
yeah. Again, yeah.
Not everybody can.
Exactly.
I understand that. It's like easy to say.
Yeah.
But if you're in the position to do that, you're gonna be paid so much more in the end.
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree with that point. I mean, you have to work your way to that position. I mean, as you say, not everybody just from the start can do it, but I think giving value first is a principle that everybody can apply, because you can, if you have expertise in whatever kind of niche that you operate, you can give value. It's easy to give value these days. All you need is social media. It's for free. And if you're just chasing the money, down the line, it's not going to work.
What do you would say? How many people are chasing money first?
Difficult question. I think it's hard to answer how many, but I would say
Percentage-wise.
I would say far over 50%.
I would say even way more.
Yeah, I would probably more than like 75, more like 3/4. And I would also like say that a common trait is a more negative mindset, because you're chasing, as the cat analogy is pretty good. You're chasing something. So it's not per se that generating revenue, aka chasing money, is something bad, but that cannot be the main goal of a business. It comes if you deliver great results, if you deliver value to your clients, whatever it is, it comes. It naturally comes. But if it's just a goal, I want to make money, difficult.
100% fair chance.
Yeah.
That brings me to sports. I knew you're a sports guy. I'm also a sports guy. And I remember back in the days when I started bodybuilding, and I really went deep into that, I had the goal to be super shredded.
Yeah.
Like the kind of the body which suits to your will, which is just
yeah.
And I feel like that's a very bad goal.
Yeah.
What I focus now today is to stay healthy and mentally clear.
Yeah.
And the side effect is that my body looks good.
Yeah.
This is so much better because sometimes you can't influence stuff.
Yeah.
Like you have too much water in your body, whatever you name it, right? But that thing I can always achieve.
Yeah.
And I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same money, or if you try to, sometimes people are hunting for the wrong things.
Yeah. 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 I think that's a great analogy. Again, you can, if you want to get super shredded, you want to go on a stage, I think that's a short-term goal. Like I did it as well. I went on a stage once, and I wanted to make it on a magazine cover for a friend.
You need to show me pictures.
I have them, of course. It was not cool doing it, but I had this check mark for myself because it was mentally one of the most cruel things I've ever done. At some point, I was just going crazy. The same goes maybe for the business side. You can have a short-term goal that you need to make certain amount of money for whatever reasons, but it can't, like, sustainably, it cannot work. Same with a fitness. You can't do that your whole life. It will kill you, literally. You see it. Yeah.
Brings me to one point, like back in the days when I was in my early 20s, I had that goal of a certain amount of money.
Yeah, of course.
This is the most stupid goal you can make.
Yeah.
If you reach that point, I felt in a deep hole.
Yeah.
It's not fulfilling.
Yeah, no.
It's like it's just like it breaks through a barrier. Okay, all right, but then you feel like that's not a mission.
Yeah.
So nowadays I don't do direct money goals anymore.
Yeah.
It's more like a kind of result in the end of the year where I say, okay, reached, not reached, all right. But again, that's probably because now I'm in another financial position like I was in my early 20s.
And you have way more experience. Yeah. That's why it's wise to listen to people who, again, what you also said, have walked the way that you're walking, have the experience. I mean, it's very, very beneficial at some point, especially in business, right? I talk about this every time. People take coaches for tennis or whatsoever, but business coaches, mentors, yeah, it's more rarely still. Like, it's nothing common that everybody does, especially the youngsters or the inexperienced. I could do it myself. I can read everything. Of course, we had a great example. Yeah, I can also research everything about emigrating from Germany, or ask a person, pay him some money, but in that hour I got more than I would probably collect in a half a year. The same story.
Why people are paying personal trainers? To kick their ass.
Exactly.
Right? To have someone like a responsibility buddy who they need to deliver to.
Yeah.
And like training and like looking at YouTube videos and, just do the thing, that's the easy part. I feel like the coaching and consulting industry overall, there are some black sheeps.
Of course.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a bad thing because coaches nowadays, sometimes if you hear coach, you associate
negative.
Something negative.
Yeah.
It's like an industry problem.
Yeah.
And there should be actually some qualifications, right?
Definitely.
Like a framework you need to apply to and qualify.
Yeah.
Right now, there is no trademark and like not
everybody can be a coach, consultant.
And this is to a certain degree a problem.
Yeah.
Because people are popping up from nowhere and harming people who are actually doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I use coaching products myself.
Yeah. Me too.
But you need to be very careful to pick people who have experience, where you also have the chance to learn about them over a while, because the majority of the customer is not going to buy now.
Yeah.
They just want to know you, provide value all the time, give them insights. And, I don't know what you think about it, but
no, completely agree. I mean, there's black sheeps, and they are damaging the picture of coaches, mentors in general, definitely, because it's not a protected, what do you call it, role or whatever, profession. I agree. It should be like you should have a certification or whatsoever, but same with the consultants. It's not protected. Anybody can do that. It damages a little bit the picture, and it also decreases trust from clients, which I can totally understand, because you're afraid to get scammed. That's why I also advise, take your time, look behind the facade, behind the person. I mean, these days it should be easy to do that. Nobody can tell me I got forced in a Zoom call to sign a contract and to pay a certain amount. Nobody is sitting there with a pistol, on your head, and you need to do that. It's, everybody has the responsibility to research something. You can talk to other clients and you get your picture. Then it's a safe bet, right? Or just follow someone and see the value that, as you said, that you're providing. It's the same with, I would say, with my target audience, with my clients. They know me for quite a while. They see what we're delivering, and I like that. It's a long-term game, right? It's long-term. Nobody's going to jump, like, as on the B2B side that we are doing or we are providing. It's not like no business is just, oh, I saw the ad, I'm going to start immediately. Very, very rarely that is going to happen. There must be a huge pain, a very, very huge pain if that happening. Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, it's easy to copy. It's easy to copy everything these days. Actually, a funny story. Yesterday, one of my colleagues told me that he got pitched by some Indian guy, and he literally copied us. He pitched us. It really happened yesterday, and I was like, I saw the screenshots on LinkedIn, and like the same USP and everything. I was like,
You should hire him.
yeah,
Get him.
no, it was very bad actually. That's the problem. But yeah, that's the point. Yeah, you can yeah. There's black sheeps for everything. Yeah, there's for everything. It's not protected. Yeah, but down the line, if you work with experienced people, it doesn't matter which industry. I mean, there's a reason why they are experienced and they have expertise because they've done it, right? So it's how we got to that question.
Maybe let me build a bridge here to my first company.
Yeah.
This is a very good example. So just to give you guys a little bit of background story where I'm coming from. I grew up as a small kid in an environment where my stepdad had an IT company, right? Back in the days, 1990, right?
Yeah.
Things are going crazy and everybody wanted to buy computers. And he had a home office where all the computers are sitting. So my first computer was a 286 Intel.
Yeah.
Right? And I got a 386 and so on. And I was sucked into that. It was crazy cool. And I was fascinated by that thing. I'm very grateful that I went through that. It opened up so many doors. I sucked at school.
Yeah.
I've had zero interest in school. Not because I was not smart.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the sense of it.
Yeah.
Today I regret it to a certain degree because I need to learn all the things and later on. But I was more fascinated about computers and all these things. And instantly after I met my educational path to an IT Systemelektroniker, it's hard to translate, like IT system technician.
System technician, something. Yeah.
I always felt like I want freedom in my life. I never want to have a boss. And from that moment when I finished that, I never had an employer, basically, just the educational part. I started my self-employment. And tell you what, if I look at that, it was the hardest time of my life. I had almost no money back in the days. I'm not coming from a rich family or got big funds sitting somewhere. So, yeah, I basically, it started that my prior educational host spared a room for me.
Yeah.
Right? This is where it started. And there's like one of these pictures, like I'm sitting there like Jeff Bezos in 1990 with a broken desk. Things like, exactly like that, right? From there I started to support personal customers with their computers, but soon I realized not scalable.
Yeah.
Not a smart way because it didn't feel B2C.
Yeah.
So I figured out, okay, I'm living in the outer region of Munich. There are plenty of companies. So let's build an IT company.
Yeah.
Well, I had the prior skills from my just fascination of computers. So I did that. I basically started in a classical way. I guess some of your coaches know that procedure. I had a hourly rate.
Yeah.
I had a how do you translate Wartungsvertrag?
Wartungsvertrag, maintenance contract.
Maintenance contract. Thank you very much for that. So I had these two components.
Yeah.
So then I hired the first employee, the second, the third. But I was the brokest bitch in my company. Everybody got some more money.
I know that.
I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
Then I realized, shit, you're constantly running after selling that hourly packages.
Yeah.
And then you have some maintenance contracts, which are just low-level income.
Yeah.
Right? I felt like that's shit.
Yeah.
Not bringing me forward. And I was in a time where like full TCO concepts where you basically go into managed services, not being a thing in Germany.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Reddit. I was hanging out with Reddit back in the days. Then I met an American mentor.
Yeah.
That guy was so humble and so grateful until today that he shared his contracts, his quotes, his templates, his email outreach, his funnel, everything.
Yeah.
He never charged a single cent from it.
Yeah. Crazy.
Showed everything to me.
Yeah.
And I basically took the concept and built it exactly like that. So we've been one of the first companies saying we cover the full IT support for your company per head.
Yeah.
So that means if you have 10 employees,
Yeah.
you pay 200 euro per employee,
Yeah.
X amount of euro.
Yeah.
And there was that guarantee that doesn't matter what happens, you're covered.
Yeah.
None of the companies out there were doing that.
Yeah.
They're so scared.
Yeah.
There was always like, there is managed services, but there is an exception. Like if you're getting a new server, or you're getting that, you're doing archive solution for your emails. And that was actually that standardization.
Yeah.
We said, okay, this is a package. In the package, there is, well, it was prior to Microsoft Office 365, but like Microsoft Exchange account, antivirus license, archive solution, you name it. So we bullet very good bundles and we bullet add-ons.
Yeah.
But we did not go the stupid route of like creating single add-ons.
Yeah.
It was more like additional packages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's call it security package one. Then you got an archive package and so on. Always work with these models because this is so smart. You can basically, your system is so easy that even an ape with a banana could sell it to the customer. That was always the goal to build something like that. I was inspired by the American companies which are, if they sell a car, the same counts for Asia basically.
Yeah.
You have like a core model and you have exactly two packages.
Yeah.
It's not like BMW or Audi where you have like a trillion
bazillion. Yeah.
You need consultants to explain that to the
exactly.
customer. Sell that thing? Fucked.
Yeah.
Because the customers can't compare stuff with each other.
True.
And I guess that was one of the most important steps to productize this.
Yeah.
To make it a recurring revenue business.
Yeah.
And never ever do a single hourly charging anymore. That was the trick. Sounds easy, but it's mentally hard to do that.
Yeah.
Also, from the customer conversation, there's a great book which I've read back in the days, which is called Pumpkin Pie. I'm not sure if you ever read it.
No, I didn't read it.
Fantastic book.
Yeah.
And it's written by a former MSP.
Yeah.
Did exactly that. He concentrated on growing one big pumpkin and don't care about the other pumpkins. So he basically formed his perfect customer persona and then kicked everything else.
100%
Concentrated on
focus.
that. For MSPs, for example, that could mean you just focus on architects or you go on lawyers or you go on whatever and nail it down.
Yeah.
Go 100% concentrate. I would still say this is the most successful principle.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. 100% focus. Yeah.
So good.
But what you just said, I would say everybody who's listening should scroll back a little in time and basically write that everything down because it was perfectly described on how to move away from an hourly rates kind of business to a more productized, standardized, managed service business, what we are preaching all the time. And it's interesting, by speaking to so many people, again, to you, it's the same principle that everybody shared. But still so many people do the opposite. So I think it's one of the missions that we can really focus on is trying to help so many people or businesses behind really get that principle. These days, I think I had a recent talk about that as well. I think the market also needs to, especially the IT market, needs to be changed or will be changing because right now the IT market is still increasing, but especially freelancers, they're gonna like some will perish if they're not going to make that shift towards two. I think also the recruiting companies, the platforms and everything that we know, I think they also need to adapt their business model, because that just selling everything by the hour, that will not last anymore. The companies, they realize you can go price dumping for near and offshoring, but the results at the end is what matters. And also companies will realize, the clients will realize that, because they're spending the money at the end, that's circling. So I think there's going to be a change. So it's now or maybe then never to adapt. And you were basically a pioneer back then.
I would sound so.
Yeah, but in the German market, it's still.
Let's say I've had a good timing.
Yeah.
Right? But you always see it like it's constant change is so important to transform and get something else at one point when you realize that old consulting model is probably not working anymore, right? You need to take action. Otherwise, you get killed by the environment. Yeah. So that was basically the beginning, right? And standard products which are scalable are, I would say, if you look at large companies, very large companies, majority of them, except for very large consulting companies, like I don't want to name them, right? They have standardized products. Look at Starbucks, look at McDonald's, look at, you name them. They do one thing very, very good, standardized, and then replicate. That's the clue. Like, I know so many consultants for myself, which are still doing the old thing. And I did the same, like in the beginning of my IT journey.
Everybody did.
Jesus, I never will forget that. I've spent like 80 hours to create one contract for a customer. Sorry, a quote for a customer.
I know that.
I basically vanished my whole weekend.
And you put everything in there, right? Every detail.
Guess what? I'm not sold to customer. And then you realize that's stupid what you're doing. You're constantly doing this over and over again. So that's the reason why you need a standardized process, which is how to craft a certain piece of quote, which is fantastic, stunning, great. Productize your stuff. And it brings me to a point which you just mentioned. Hourly paying. I'm getting banished for selling on the hour.
Definitely.
If I'm very good in something, right? And if I sell by the hour, if I work slower, I get more money.
Makes no sense.
Makes
no sense.
So my goal is to work slower.
To get more money. Makes no sense.
So nowadays, when a customer asks me if you can make a per hour pricing, I actually say no. You care about the result. If we, for example, to make it easy for people, get your website done in 1 week. Right? To create it and build it and make everything fantastic and you're amazing. And you get, from this second on, you get more leads in. This is where you're making money. But if you pay by the hour, it probably takes 3-4 weeks or longer.
Makes no sense.
You can't move on with your stuff. So I'm a big believer of result-orientated payments.
Definitely.
Right? For example, I've recently had a discussion with my cleaning company because like house cleaning is one of the things which I always, since I was like, 18, always outsourced. Because I understood let's say they charge between 15 to 25 euro per hour, right? It's the smartest thing to do. I free up, let's say, 4 to 6 hours per week to clean my house and everything. Same situation was with them. The company I have right now, they pay hourly rate. And at one point I said, no, that's not a good approach. Like, well, I think that's a Cyprus problem. If the heat is very high. People have a tough time to do like a job where you work
physically.
Hard.
It's very demanding.
And well, currently I'm turning out to the owner and tell him, listen, can you just make a fixed price for me? I'm super happy. And so like, I don't care
how long
or how you do it. If you get me the result in X, cool. Right. And I don't gonna blame you for that. I care about the result. So I'm fully with you with that transition from hourly payment to packages and standardization.
I think it's a big change in mindset too. I mean, you're working with many IT companies. I'm working with IT freelancers, IT companies. I would say the ones who are most successful is the one who adapt the change in mindset, because everybody is at that stage where you start with selling your hours, but once you understand the concept that, as you just perfectly described, it's in the benefit of the customer as well as in your benefit, that charging by the end result, generally speaking, is more beneficial for all sides. That's a big leverage, because as you just said as well, many companies, especially in Germany, they're all FTE mandate based and projects. So the only way they can scale is hiring more people. You're limited. You're super limited. And as you said at the very beginning as well, the profit is decreasing, because if you're the owner, actually you're paying more and more to people because their salaries increasing. The rates will not increase proportionally. You cannot just double charge your customers. So your profit is shrinking while your company is growing if you're not leveraging the concept of having packages, standardized services, or whatsoever. And that's, if companies adapt this concept early on, the leverage is over proportional in terms of revenue and profit. And that's just,
And your life gets easier.
and your life gets easier. You work less. Yeah, that's like, people need to understand, you get better client results, you make more revenue, your profit is increasing while you work less. So there is no minus, there is no negative side. Of course, it sounds easy talking about it, but again, you made a perfect example. Every company that is successful has something in common. They're not doing everything individually from the scratch. But again, I did it as well. First consulting business, every client was treated differently. Customer is king. Yes, but how much work did you put in? Exactly the same. I put work into quotes. I mean, you basically already try to put the solution into the quote. Best time you even put the code into the quote or whatsoever. It's not gonna be sold. Nobody cares. Now, just send out your standard offering them, accept it, not accept it, move on, follow up, of course, but so much easier. And for me, I really see, for like, I can say the most successful clients that I work with is the ones who adapt this idea. That's the end goal I want to get them. Because then you have something. There's also something that you can sell, right? If everything is individualized, how do you gonna sell it?
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Well, it works if you're, let's say you're one of the big three, right? Then you have probably a different standpoint.
It's different.
And then you have different rates.
Yeah.
Then the concept might work, but at this level, the client has that expectation.
Yeah.
Different story. I would say a majority of the people you're working with,
Yeah.
I'm working with, are far away of having like 10,000 employees.
It's difficult to reach.
So what you need, especially as an entrepreneur, like founder, you need to have something which you can replicate and sell easy. Good thing with that is if you hire people, like a sales rep, it's also easy for him.
Exactly.
You can replicate that.
Yeah.
It's crucial.
Yeah. Very, very crucial. That's also why a lot of IT companies, like typical SMEs in the DACH region, Germany, don't have a sales team, department, or even channel, because there's nothing to sell. Everything is individual. The CEO, 30 years in the company, is still doing the quotes because all the knowledge is in his head or her head. And very different. That's why they cannot build up a real sales pipeline, because again, everything comes out of network. Then you do it individually. Nothing is standardized, right? You can't teach that to a sales rep. It's very, very difficult. That's also one of the most important learnings that I did in my previous companies. Is like, that's why highly trained, highly experienced salespeople couldn't do the job that I or we were doing. No, now it's different. If you have a standardized approach, you know how to do it. Anybody can do it.
I've actually seen it with some companies I'm mentoring for many years now. And you see that if you take a problem in a process, let's say the process is already in the beginning super complex.
Yeah.
The company grows. that
Yeah.
that process get like a 10x in
Yeah.
complexity,
Yeah.
right? And it's super complicated. Brings someone exactly to that what you just said, like you're the one,
Yeah.
you're the head of that company, and then you're the only one who can make quotes.
Yeah.
Because it's such a complex project you're doing. Fully agree. Yeah. That brings me to a point, like, just to finish, to wrap this up a little bit, like, then I moved actually, like, this worked out.
Yeah.
So we made a managed service provider, we grew that thing. In the end of 2021, I made an asset deal, sold everything, contract, employees moved over.
All the companies? Yeah.
No. It's a little bit more kind of complicated story.
Yeah.
But so same thing had then happened with the company beyond that.
Yeah.
We realized this is like the magic of specialization, to really be narrowed on what you do. There was the thing of ransomware. For the listeners who probably don't know what it is, let me explain it in 2 sentences. It's basically an attack on a company where someone, a threat actor, is asking for a ransom to decrypt your files again. So cyber threat actors are actually breaking in big networks, smaller companies. You probably heard of this in the media, right? And so we basically organically came to that because of my old managed service provider business. We had so many requests from strangers.
Yeah.
So many prospects. At one point I thought, like, let's do this. So we made a spin-off and concentrated on exactly this.
Yeah.
So what we do today is basically one thing. We sell one package, one. And that is basically a flat-based support for these incidents. We do the ransom negotiations. We do the ransom settlement for the customers, compliance checks, so they don't violate terrorism organization laws and all these things. And we also decrypt the data again. Yeah. Right? All help with insurance, law enforcement, and so on. Right? And it's just fantastic. It solves one single problem. We have a very standardized product. Yeah. And we can sell it over and over and over.
There's no limit.
That's the magic.
Yeah.
And if you combine it with a kind of niche focus, I would say that counts also for IT in general.
100%.
Pick something where you feel unconfident going there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there are not enough customers.
Oh, there's. Yeah, definitely.
So this turned out to be very successful.
Yeah.
2021, we made around 3.2 million revenue. Yeah. And we basically, that was 2020. Yeah. 2021, we made 6.8 million.
Yeah, in recurring revenue.
Not recurring. Yeah. This is a different kind of business model. Yeah. Because you're very reactive. Yeah. It's like you lost your keys and you need someone who helps you right now. Yeah. Right. Sends an army of experts remotely and help you. Right. Nice. So this is not a good business model to build, shall I say, recurring revenue. Yeah. But it's highly paid because it's like you lost a key for
very specialized.
You need specialists.
And emergency. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
That thrives our business model to a certain degree.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Makes our life easier.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for every industry. Yeah. Absolutely. Get it. But for us, it worked. Yeah. Right? So, and this is what we still do today. Yeah. But I'm not that involved in business anymore. Yeah. Right? So this is why I have now capacity to basically do something what fulfills me. Yeah. And this is where I'm now starting out to doing what I'm doing said many, many years on the sidelines. Yeah. Yeah. I'm used to coach people, help and mentor them based on what I've learned in the past 20 years. Yeah. It's the same with you. Yeah. It's the same experience. Yeah. And now you feel ready to do this. Yeah. Sometimes it takes time. Yeah. You can't help people if you do this for 30 days. No. That's what a lot of people out there, right? They create a fake background or whatsoever. I mean, at some point it's gonna blow off. But I mean, you have started so many companies. No, the majority of them that we summarized at the beginning that you sold in this asset deal. Yeah. And BeforeCrypt is what is still running. Well, I think in my past 20 years, I tried a billion things. And most of them failed. Yeah, of course. I'm so happy that it did. Each time I learned something. Yeah. I would say 2 out of 20 are successful. That's great. So what shall I say about that?
I mean, the other businesses, there are, because I was reading a little bit. You're also on the Forbes Council, by the way. This is also a good story. But did you exit them all, and then now BeforeCrypt, and now the coaching business, or
Yeah, well, most of them I actually sold.
yeah,
Some of them are never been that super big,
yeah,
right? But I sold sometimes the domain and license right
Yeah.
because we always register the trademarks.
yeah,
And sometimes we sell the concept.
Yeah,
With
that makes
HubX, for
sense.
example,
yeah,
let's be honest, we took the chance of the crypto hype in 2017.
yeah,
And a friend of mine was a very good software as a service founder.
yeah,
So we put the heads together and built basically an ETF protocol for Ethereum.
yeah.
This is what we did.
Good.
It didn't work out the way we wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? But anyway, we learned a lot and moved on. Right? Just killed that. And then we moved on with Send Comply, which was, again, a very cool thing. Yeah. But let me explain what happened here because it's actually funny for someone who's probably from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So we built a software solution who would basically help people to do all the GDPR thing in Germany. You remember?
Yeah.
The shift was around
Big.
2020.
Was it even before, I think, right? The GDPR? Yeah.
I need to look in my agenda and can tell you exactly. So what happened is basically Bundesdatenschutzgesetz over to GDPR.
Yeah.
And there was that kind of giant pot of things someone needs to do. Like all the technical, like I don't know in English, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the TOMs.
Yeah. The TOMs,
For example. So we built a solution who automated that.
Yeah.
Who put you in a questionnaire.
That's good.
And then create a final report.
Yeah, that's good.
So that you can apply with the regulators. But we we underestimated the fact that nobody did care.
Nobody would care.
Nobody did care. That most companies, even today, who I talk about this, give a flying fuck about
true.
GDPR, right? It's like, yeah. We're gonna sign ADR probably.
Yeah.
Only exception is stuff like work with enterprise businesses, but the majority of the companies. So we actually didn't have a customer.
Yeah.
Mistake was we didn't test the product audience first.
So what I was gonna say, yeah. But it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Took a lot of time back in my previous company group to create TOMs and everything. Jesus Christ. I remember that was a pain in the ass. Yeah. We had to do it because signing bigger companies, clients, you just had to have them. And at some point it was like, shit, we have to have them. Get our Datenschutzbeauftragte. We don't have one. Okay, we'll get one now. It's like, that was how it was, right? Yeah, that's a good idea. It was a pain in the ass, yeah.
And then it vanished. Like from one year to another, level of pain disappeared.
Yeah, it was not so... They didn't pursue it so much as they said. Yeah, I remember that. That was a phase. Yeah, everybody was running around. Yeah, that's true. Okay, and then now BeforeCrypt is still running. So that's running smooth. And now you can focus on your passion, coaching other businesses as well in the IT. Yeah.
I always see it when I'm coming out of these meetings. I'm smiling.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have meetings where you feel drained.
Yeah.
You come out of this and you feel like, I don't know. And this is the other way around. It gives me energy.
Yeah.
That's always a good indicator if you have that feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
So I was constantly resisting against this for a certain time amount because I thought like I'm into IT.
Yeah.
I'm an IT guy. So I need to make IT, right? Because like I've used to do that and that. But at one point I realized, okay, it doesn't matter. Like you have a certain skill set which you developed over time. So you can help people with several challenges and it's not always industry specific.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I decided to go a bit broader, right? To work on a higher level with people.
Yeah.
So I'm planning to do, for example, where I'm very good at, is like telling people the full process of sales.
Yeah.
super in this. So I can tell people, listen, this is the process of like how you approach approach a client, how you make a proper quote, how do you make a very good sales call. Like we talked about this before, about listening, giving the right feeling for the customer, psychological layers beyond that. So that could be one product. At the current stage, I don't care. Like I told you before, my aim is 100 true fans. So I'm kicking content in all directions, helping people, engage with people. And everything else will come naturally.
Definitely.
That's it for now. So I'm not nailing down on we're doing exactly this right now. It's the wrong approach. I've learned it from a podcast from America. They have that ACP concept: audience, community, product. They say first build an audience, then move them into your community, then make the.
I know that concept.
I love that.
That's
love that approach because that way you building the product around your customer. And that's exactly what I'm aiming to.
I did very much the same approach, building my mentoring business, because it was the same story. I did it on the side for many years as well, besides running my own companies, but it was on the side, right? You have different focus. Doesn't mean you don't do it, but it was not like I'm gonna pursue that now. For me, it was after selling or being clear that I'm going to sell my previous company groups. You have to have something in life that, you stand up for. Not just we are already living in Cyprus on the beach. The check marks are there, right? That was a deep discussion I remember that I was having with myself after a little bit stepping back from everything. What do you want to do? Like how can you help? That was the question. How can I help the people the most, or the businesses? And I asked my friends and what would you say I'm really good at?
Very good trick.
And everybody was going into this direction. You can help people with the business stuff or motivate people. Also a lot of fitness stuff. You go kick their asses. And it was a little bit wild. And then at some point I was like, man, you're doing it already. Why not pursue this? And that's how the idea of my mentoring business started.
I like that. So you also found your fulfillment in that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with what you said. It's a great feeling being able to help others. I mean, B2B anyway is humans behind. And you can see after a certain period of time that their mindset is changing. And it's not about they're making more revenue all the time. That's a very hard KPI. The processes are more digitalized. The systems or the structures are better. They work less, while generating more revenue maybe for the company. However, and that's very fulfilling. Well, I have very good examples. Some people started working with us. They were depressed, very depressed. The business was not working. Half a year later, it's a different person. Like that's the best. That's the best. And you see like happy, smiling, energy, full positivity. I mean, that's why you want to do. That's
absolutely love that. Fully agree on that. Like if you see someone changing over a period of like 6 months, then you have a completely different person there. You know that you do something good. And it doesn't matter if that person stays in the business, do something else. Know that he has changed. One thing what you mentioned before is like so important is mindset. Mindset is you always like the buzzword of the year.
It is. It's so difficult.
Mindset there and everything changes. But what I want to say is like the majority of the people I'm working with, you see the biggest conflict is the way they treat themselves, and the self-reflection they have on their opinion about themselves. Like downgrading their own value, for example, having struggles, like the perspective is super off. I recently had a situation where someone told me, I'm building a product and I want to charge that. And I feel bad about it. Then I opened up the full formula and tried to invite that person to get a different perspective on what kind of value this is for the person on the other end. You might feel that, let's say, €5,000 for a design is much,
Yeah.
but for the other person over there,
It's
it's not much.
yeah. Yeah.
He's sitting somewhere else, and if you bring him 10x the value,
Yeah.
this is the best investment you can make.
Yeah.
And then you see like people are opening up,
Yeah.
getting a different mindset on that. But that's cool.
That's very
really
cool. Again, that brings back to the concept that you are perfectly describing: packaging, standardizing, productivizing. Because at the end, you bring a piece of value and end result to the client instead of doing it hour by hour. And it's so much connected to the mindset, because we basically said it ourselves from our experience in life. You are basically trained that way. We don't know it differently. So there need to be external factors like your mentor you're working with who bring you these concepts, because maybe somewhere else they're more established already. And I think that's if you can motivate, maybe not even motivate, if you can change people or businesses in a way that obviously is working better for them, if you can trigger a positive change, that's maybe how do you put it, that's a great feeling. Yeah, that's a great feeling. Yeah, that's true.
Well, for us, it's now easy because we're sitting here
Yeah.
X amount of years later. Back in the days when I started out with my business, I swear to God, I wish I had a mentor
Yeah, exactly.
or a coach, whatever, right? Back in the days, there was not that kind of solution. It was not that kind of market.
Yeah,
where you could.
that was not existing. No, that was not existing. No.
And I wasted years
Yeah.
over years
Yeah.
to realize that's the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays, we have discussed about the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of the coaching industry overall, but I still feel like there are single elements, persons who I highly trust. They are confident enough to teach people a shortcut.
Yeah.
It's about a shortcut.
Yeah, definitely.
And that brings you ultimately more money. Funny enough, let's talk about the concept money real quick. I feel like we see it in the ads. If you're creating ads and if you put something which is with a goal like to achieve X amount of euro, dollar, you name it, it's 100% working better if you put an ad like if you focus on freedom.
Yeah.
It's funny because like money for me is just a tool.
Yeah.
I use it to achieve several things, but the people are not aiming for the higher goal because money is just a tool to unlock something.
Yeah.
It's funny, like from psychological perspective. That
it's but that's something that I often obviously hear from people who have succeeded in some kind of sense, because I think that's something that you are learning down the line. If you I don't know how you feel. If I talk with my old friends or family in Germany, it's just a different world. And I don't mean it negatively, but what you hear sometimes is like money obviously has a different feeling or a different perception, because nobody's born rich. At least for us, it's not the case. So we learned as a business, as an entrepreneur, that money is a tool to generate more money, to generate more value to clients. It's something that comes alongside, something that you need to learn. I think really, it's something that the more experienced you get, the more you understand that you can invest it very intelligently, in your company, in other people, whatever kind of things. So it's a different concept. That's why if you take very famous examples like Elon Musk or whoever, they are zero money driven. I mean, Elon Musk could not work, and his grandchilds would never have to work. Why is he working 100 hours plus a week? He has other purposes. He wants to make an impact. And if you found that way, I mean, again, it's something easy that everybody can say. But if you have something that when you get up in the morning and kind of, you have a good feeling about doing it, I think that's such a, you will do it biggest part of your life. If you get up in the morning and it's, fuck, that's where you need to change something. and if it's your business, and I see so many, as you also say, I see so many people or businesses being in that situation. Just fuck, how to get out of that situation. It's something you created. You can change it. You can still change it, right?
A very good point what you just said about the fact going up in the morning. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the concept of ikigai.
No.
Never heard of that?
No.
It's sweet. It comes actually from the Japanese culture, and it's basically a concept of six blocks in your life, right? And one of them, or the saying you have around this, what is the one thing which makes you stand up in the morning? So they have a kind of life purpose to a certain degree, and I don't know if they can say what they do, but I like that concept. I always have on my refrigerator, there is that thing, like that ikigai thing, what makes you stand up in the morning. That's a very fulfilling idea. I like it. So to say there is something, maybe in your case, I know there's a baby coming, right?
Yeah.
That could be also like
Oh, definitely. It's motivating. It's very
motivating.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I know that this is not a fulfilling part. Business is my baby to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where I put my love in.
Yeah.
This is what makes me fulfilled.
Yeah.
People always dream of having money and lay back, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
If there's no fulfilling in doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's a terrible concept.
Yeah, I agree.
There is also a book which I highly recommend to you. Probably you know it. It's called Happy Money.
Happy Money?
Happy Money.
Yeah, I think that I've listened to that once. Yeah.
Okay, audiobook, I guess.
Yeah.
So for the other guys who are listening to this podcast, there's a wonderful concept of that. If you earn money and spend money, it has energy, levels of energy, either positive or negative. And so it does matter how you generate money.
Yeah, it definitely does matter. Yeah.
If you do bullshit and scam people or whatever,
it drains energy. Yeah.
Yeah, also, your money is basically bound to that.
I agree.
Absolutely, it's a little bit spiritual, but I do like the concept of like it's very important. How do you make your money? What kind of value really creating?
Yeah.
And then put it over, right? And if you spending energy, same thing.
Different feeling than behind. Yeah.
So like the book tells you a lot about how to think about money and how do you treat it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the idea of like, oh my God, I can lose it all.
Yeah. And that's interesting. Yeah.
Most rich people I know.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is like, I'm scared of losing.
Yeah.
That's a crazy problem.
Yeah.
Like if you have nothing, cool.
Yeah.
Right? you can't fall any lower, basically, right? But yeah, that becomes an actually psychological problem.
Yeah. That's true. That's why coming back to Elon Musk, he sold everything he has, right? He's living next to his factory there and wherever it was in a 3-bedroom apartment. I mean, just crazy, right?
But he still bought a villa.
Yeah, he has some stuff, but
that's good for marketing.
He's not. Doesn't seem to be materialized or something like that. That's just very, very interesting if you look at it. And then of course you can draw a comparison between the normal people, like crazy people like him. But the point I think that we're trying to make is there's concepts behind that we can adapt to or that we can orientate on. Like money cannot be the driving factor to start a business. There needs to be fulfillment. Fulfillment can be various things. Then to get up, the energy that you're spending. That's very, very. That's important concepts and is really motivating at the end. And we don't really to a lot of people that are listening. It's because we're both from the IT, which is perfect. We don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time. It's also like people. I also see they overcomplicate things. It's like they're questioning if we do this, if we do that. Well, first of all, do something. As you said at the beginning, the first step is doing something. And some businesses or some people don't do the first step. Afraid to fail. Yeah, that's the German culture, I guess. Especially in Europe, more, of course, not in America. But yeah, once you fail in a business, you're already, marked, especially in that part where we are from. But there's no wrongdoing. Yeah, I mean, coming back to reinventing the wheel, there's so much knowledge out there these days. You can soak up so much content already by, as you say, that a lot of people provide value already. It's there. It's like, I think these days, the most challenging part, whereas like 10, 15 years ago, you didn't have the information. Now you have an overflow of information because everybody is doing something. It's now putting the pieces together, right? Now it's like you have too much. Now, how can I put that puzzle together? That's the challenging part.
Super smart. I really like what you're saying, man. Also the fact, like, people always think that going into the blue ocean is a good idea. It's absolutely the dumbest idea I've did in my past. Also, like if I build projects, for example, I was looking for, okay, there is no one in this market. There is no one building that product. That must be the best idea of the world. Turns out this was the dumbest idea because if there is no market, there is no demand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I learned. Yeah. So nowadays I always don't go in the blue ocean. I always go into the red ocean and search or build my sub niche I can work in. So I do like the concept, what you just said, of the smartest things you don't need to build the new wheel, right? Or the new flying car. Just combine elements and make one thing really good. Yeah. That's all you need.
That's all necessary. Yeah.
The same thing if you look at my companies. We didn't do anything special. We just changed the way how we provide value.
Exactly. Yeah. And how you present it to clients. The delivery and the marketing and the sales. I mean, it's basically what's missing. I always try to say, if your company is providing a skill, whatever, consulting, SAP, whatever, IT, cloud, infrastructure, by the hour, you're basically, clients can compare you to other companies that provide the skill by the hour. There's no value behind. You just deliver something. So at the end, you're treated, and that's what happens a lot to freelancers, also smaller companies. You work by the hour. Clients compare you. You're replaceable because you're a resource for them. You're not a service provider. You're a resource. Thus, nearshoring, offshoring, I can pay a cheaper price, half the price for the same skill. Well, no brainer for a client. Of course, I'm going to go that. That's what's happening right now for a lot in the market. So there's a difference between selling just purely by the hour and providing a real service. And the transition that we very much described throughout the whole podcast is not that difficult. It's how to change your delivery process to a more standardized, productized way. You don't need to necessarily invent something new. You most likely have it already, package it differently, present it differently, and voila, you can serve your clients.
Spot on.
But that's why we are here for, to help.
It's like the same thing what you just said, like is what happened with my mentor back in the days in the USA, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, he gave him free.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it's good if you charge for something, because what I've learned is if you, at this stage, give people something for free, they don't value it.
Yeah, they're not doing it. Yeah, they're not doing it. It's true. Yeah.
Sometimes it's very good. I include myself. If I commit to something, let's say I need to pay 5,000 euros.
Yeah,
I'm fucking energized.
Oh, I'm doing it. I paid for it. I'm getting the most out of it.
If I buy the same thing for $10, it's like an Udemy course.
Yeah, it's
put it in the storage.
I'll do it.
Shame.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I feel like sometimes it's very important that you also have like a financial commitment where because people, that's what I realized, the persona changes.
Yeah.
People are actually taking away more notes.
Yeah.
We're way more concentrated if they pay a certain value.
Definitely.
Value, it's energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Just transfer. So that's also the reason why I'm not a big fan of selling something too cheap.
Yeah.
Because you're attracting wrong people, getting wrong commitment.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, you made a perfect example. Buy something for $5 or for $5,000. How you do that? Like when I work with my mentors, if I buy whatever kind of course with them or one-to-one mentoring, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to watch everything. I'm going to read everything. I'm going to do everything. At the end, I'm going to decide what was helpful for me or not. But without doing it, I have clients sometimes where I really ask myself, they're not looking one step further down the process than necessary. I mean, they're spending definitely some money on it. It's like the active thinking, the active doing needs to be done as well. I mean, that's also something that I learned. Motivating people is difficult, very, very difficult. The motivation needs to be inside that person. You can help trigger it, like build up a flame or something like that, but you can't keep that fire running forever. That needs to be somewhere intrinsic, and it cannot also only be extrinsic motivated, as you said, just by money. And going back to the point that you had, if it's for free, there's no commitment. This is or very rarely. I also wouldn't say 100%, but yeah, definitely.
It's like a filter.
Yeah.
Also for you as a coach.
Yeah, of course.
You basically say, okay, I want to have committed people. And if you do it too cheap, you have a very low success rate.
Yeah.
It's about getting successful people.
Yeah.
And you don't achieve that.
Yeah.
If someone is not putting enough concentration.
Yeah, definitely.
You just said it was wonderful. You can light a fire, but it's not your job
to
put the motivation in.
Yeah.
And that's also the reason happens that someone is probably not successful.
Yeah. Of course that happens.
But not because of you.
Yeah.
Because he's not willing to put in the hard work and grind and putting effort into what he's doing.
Motivation is something that lasts temporarily. You need to create a habit, a routine, and out of a routine, consistency is created. If you're consistent at something, you will ultimately get better. That's how I always try to describe it. Do it. Create a habit, create a routine. It will create consistency. You will get better. If you do 1,000 sales calls, you will be 1,000 times better than the first. The same with the training. You need to put in the work right at the end. And then you will work your way into the situation where you can change other things as well. Maybe work less again, but the work must be done. And the motivation cannot be triggered or constantly triggered by an external person. It's not gonna work. And that's something that we see in business, in fitness, or wherever. Like the motivation lasts. Everybody's like, do it a month, no problem. Do it half a year, already different. Do it a year, do it 10 years, do it 20 years. Oh, that's a big difference. So that's a good point.
A friend of mine owns also a few fitness places, and he also said, like, in the beginning of the year,
January.
That's a perfect example. People are lining up to sign up because they're
of course
motivated. Let's crush it, right? We all know that the majority of the people drop. Why? Because motivation is like it increases very fast, but also drops
very fast.
So let's say you're motivated for 2 to 6 weeks. And then that's actually the important part where discipline needs to come in place.
Exactly.
To hold you there. This is the hard part.
That's the stabilization phase.
Absolutely. And that's the point why maybe you and me, we are out competing others.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
I'm having absolutely terrible days in the day. I go there and I feel like trash.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever, right?
I felt bad this morning, to be honest. I didn't have a good day.
But you showed up.
It's leg day. It's Tuesday. So what can I do? I didn't make the rule. That's what I always say.
But that's it, right? Just showing up.
Showing up.
Like 99% of the competition.
Absolutely. You outwork 99% of others. But just by being consistent. Consistency really, really beats a lot of people because they don't have that, what it takes. Do you know the book 5 a.m. Club?
I've used to do that. Well, I would say mixed feelings. Well, I hated it because my girlfriend hated it.
If you're not an early person.
Social incompatible structure. Let's call it that way. But I loved feeling I've got out of this.
Yeah.
Get used to that.
What I liked is the concept of creating a routine, this 20 day rule. No, the first 20 days, it's this motivation, basically no problem to do something. The second part of the 20 days is where you stabilize it. It's where what you just said, the discipline needs to be kicking in. Otherwise, no habit, no routine. And then the last 20 days is really implementing it. And I think that concept really, it really works. I mean, there's scientifically proven is different for everybody. But I think that really, it's not only fitness is business, as you just say. Show up, do your work. You will have bad days. Next day will be better. But just do it.
I think there is a study saying it's around 63 days in average.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
I think around that.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's completely individual.
Yeah.
Someone.
But 63 days is 20, 20, 20, you're at 60. So, yeah, that works. It takes time.
That's tough. Right?
Yeah, it's 2 months, right?
But it's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Pays dividends.
Yeah.
That's like the concept of goal setting is also very interesting. Like, how do you structure goals and set them?
Yeah.
And when I'm aiming for something or building something new, I always set myself in a position like what I want this to be in like 5 years.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah.
Like a travel.
Yeah.
I think that's also one of the concepts of the 5 a.m. book.
Yeah.
You sit down and create that perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Living somewhere in Malibu, you have your house, your kids, and so on, right? And draw that picture. This is what motivates me.
Yeah, definitely.
It could help people, right?
Yeah.
To have like a long-term motivation.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that.
Yeah, definitely.
Discipline phase.
Yeah.
Then you think like, oh, I don't want to go to
Yeah.
I hate this. I need to do this again.
Yeah.
And then you close the eyes, you reframe that, you think about why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Long-term motivation.
Yeah,
that helps to get you out of that.
It's very important to have that. I think it's good to have like a long-term picture for like vision motivation. And if you then chunk it down to more like quarterly goals or something like that, because now I'm maybe talking a little bit more in business, but probably also in private life goes the same, because that's more, it's more agile, right? If you like down in 1 year, so many things can happen, but it always needs to align with the long-term goal and then chunk it out. That's why OKRs works, right? Again, that's good. So what's next for you? What's the next steps of Yanosh?
Well, I'm actually planning to buy Cyprus.
Yeah? Great. Yeah. How much is going to be?
Too much.
Shit.
Well, like I told you before, I have the one goal of creating 100 fans until the end of the year.
Yeah.
So whoever likes to join me on that road and grave some value, you're more than invited to steal my tactics and my tricks. The easiest way to follow me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing at the moment. This is my home base.
Yeah. We're going to link it, of course.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I read your content every day, so I can highly recommend it to everyone. I hope for the ones who are listening, and definitely, I mean, there's much value always, but definitely follow. Is there anywhere else where you want to be followed, like Instagram, Facebook, or is LinkedIn the number one?
I'm a very committed type of guy. Yeah, I'm a big believer of staying concentrated.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn it is.
LinkedIn it is. Yeah, you said at the beginning, Instagram, you banned a little bit out. Yeah. It's there's good reasons. Yeah, there's good reasons. So then 100 fans, throughout this year. What's next year? Already some plans?
No. That's the same thing. Like if you try to, I know there are these guys like been in these 5 years plans. Doing the same kind of like, but I don't want to put a time frame there.
Yeah.
I'm just planning for this year.
Yeah.
That's good. So I can't really tell you what is happening in 1 year from now. Because, and I'm old enough to know that things are not always turning out.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. And that's good. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, anything else that you want the listeners to know, say, or whatsoever?
I think that's more a general wise. Do it now, take action.
Yeah.
I know it's very broad, but this is basically the concept to get everything started.
Yeah.
Many people wait too long to make a step to something. Right. I also like the saying of I'm not good at yet.
Yeah, yet is good. Yeah.
Everybody starts somewhere, right? I've got a million things where I suck at.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I can't fix my fucking car.
No.
It breaks down.
Oh, I cannot do that.
That's okay. But like starting whatever it takes, I would absolutely get professional help and move forward if you have the chance to.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Completely agree. Last question from my side. Do you think if back in your childhood wouldn't have had your stepdad, that IT room with the computers, would you be here sitting and talking about, all the experience that you've built up the last 20 years?
This is a fantastic question.
I saved that for the very last moment.
So what happened is that he died at one point. And this is basically a thing what motivated me for many, many years, because when I was younger, I was not a good kid, to be honest. And I wanted him to be proud of me, looking from up there down to me and saying, okay, I'm doing something out of my life. And you can't believe how negative motivation can push you forward.
Mm-hmm.
So this drove me for many more 10, 15 years. So I know he would be 100% proud.
Yeah.
I stick to my values and what I think. Absolutely.
Oh.
Clear yes.
That's good. That's what I would have answered. I'm pretty sure he would be proud. Came a long way.
See my answer.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. I think again, 2 hours in the books. Wow.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We have a different time zone here.
Yeah, it is.
In the youth makers marketplace. I was kindly asked to today announce where we are recording
That's really cool.
the podcast. It's a great place. If you guys are around Larnaca, so in Cyprus, and you want to make a reservation here, they have great facilities that we are mostly using if we're not burning on the rooftop somewhere. So highly recommended. Yanosh, thanks for being on the podcast. I think from my side, it was super interesting again. Time flies by. I hope all the listeners had a lot of value. If you have any questions, obviously let us know in the comments or send us DMs. If you want to find Yanosh, obviously he will be linked. Also his companies will be linked in the comment section or in the description section. And yeah, if you guys, obviously you need help scaling your IT businesses, you know to whom to reach out to. And for today, I would say off to lunch.
Off to lunch. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you guys, and see you on the next podcast episode from the Patrick McGibney Podcast.
We're out. Cheers.